Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Sunday and it's July the 11th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our story today takes us to the U.S. Army military base at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, the Army Chaplain's Office, multiple child sex assault charges. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. Today we're talking about the Army's Chaplain's Corps and the despicable things that are coming out of the Chaplain's Office at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I plan to share two cases with you, and they're both from the same place, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and they represent current cases coming to light within the past several weeks. And here's the first headline, and it reads, Fort Leonard Wood Chaplain to plead guilty to child sexual abuse. And the first person for discussion today is Captain Jeremy Dunn, shown here, currently assigned to the 3rd Chemical Brigade at Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. Captain Dunn has brought a level of disgrace to the Army in a way we could never have imagined. He has agreed to plead guilty to repeatedly raping a child over several years. Now, Dunn was formally charged this past spring with 6 counts of repeated sexual assault on a child, 4 counts of rape, and 3 counts of sexual assault. All of the assaults occurred against the same charge. And keep in mind that even though these were the counts and the charges, it doesn't mean these are just the times that the sexual assault happened. It happens many more times than that. The post-commanding general had referred the case for court-martial, which was scheduled to begin this past June, and I'm sure it was delayed as he negotiated a plea agreement. So rather than facing a court-martial and a trial and the reality that he could possibly be facing life in prison, Dunn accepted a plea deal last week and will plead guilty to 1-count specification each of child rape, sexual assault of a child, rape by force, and sexual assault without consent. According to reports, Captain Dunn began assaulting the child while he was stationed at Fort Belvoir in Virginia way back in 2015, and the sexual assault continued to his next duty station at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He got there in 2018, so he had been 3 years, he had still had been abusing that child, and the sexual assault continued until September of 2019. So you know that child had been subjected to this type of mistreatment and abuse for many, many years. Now, 10 out of the 13 allegations specifically say that the rape was done by force. And of course, we know in order to protect the privacy of the child, I know that's the goal, but it does appear this child was living in the home with him or living within his custody or was someone he had very close contact with, because the child followed him from one location at Fort Belvoir onto another location at Fort Leonard Wood. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone who was he was responsible for acting as a parent or a surrogate parent for that bastard. And again, he has agreed to plead guilty. His sentencing is set for July the 14th, which is 3 days, so that's on Wednesday. According to what has been reported, he was facing a possibility of confinement for life and the loss of all pay and benefits. However, due to the plea agreement, he is expected to be sentenced to 18 years in prison. Now, it's unlikely that the judge would go against the plea agreement, even though in a few cases I've heard where it was done. So at a minimum, he's going to jail for 18 years. I still don't think it's enough. And now let's move directly into the next case, and the title reads, Former Fort Leonard Wood Youth Ministry Director Admits to Sexual Abuse. And this time we're talking about this man, 42-year-old Army Sergeant First Class David McKay, a former member of the Army National Guard living in Waynesville, Missouri. And Waynesville is just a small town right outside of the post, St. Roberts and then Waynesville, very close by. Well, in his civilian job, he was the former Youth Minister Director of Religious Services on the base there at Fort Bragg. And at least he was assigned to one of the chaplain's office. Well, on Thursday of last week, he agreed to a plea deal in which he pled guilty to sexually abusing 4 teens ranging in ages from 11 to 17. He admitted the sexual abuse happened dozens of times and extended over a 7-year period from 2010 to 2017. Now, according to what has been reported, prosecutors say McKay admitted that some of the sexual abuse happened on the base right there at Fort Leonard Wood and at various other places in Pulaski County, which is the county where the base is located. The victims reported that sexual abuse also happened during youth ski trips to Colorado and at local camping trips. So McKay pled guilty to 1 count of transporting a minor to engage in criminal sexual activity and 4 counts of sexually abusing a minor. And he was also facing the possibility of life in prison if he went to trial. But as a result of the plea deal, he is currently expected to face 10 years in prison when he's sentenced. But a sentencing day has not yet been set. Now, after reading about these 2 cases, I had to take a few minutes to go back and research the role of the chaplain in the United States Army or in the United States military as a whole. I needed to refresh my memory. I needed to know whether I had forgotten what they do, because throughout my military career, the chaplain, regardless of branch, was the most trusted individual within the company, within the brigade. And I don't believe it has changed, but I wonder whether the Army took its eyes off the chaplain corps, and that in essence gave them a perceived rite of passage. We trusted our children, and they raped and molested them for years. I wonder just how many more are out there, and how many more of our children are silently crying out for help. This to me is simply the lowest of the low, if that's possible, and these 2 are simply a disgrace. You have 2 child rapists who deserve to spend the rest of their lives in prison, and there's no alleged anything here. These 2 people working out of the chaplain's office at Fort Leonard Wood admitted raping and sexually assaulting children, and they were doing it for years. They admitted guilt, and they are now awaiting sentencing. Parents, here's a word of advice. Don't trust your children with anyone, not anyone. And when they have been out of your sight, regardless of how long it is, be sure to ask them about your experiences. Ask them over and over and over again. And when they tell you the truth, I want you to believe them. And that's all I have for you right now. Feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And if you click on this notification bell right here, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.